Krystal, what are you taking a look at?
I can hardly believe the story that I'm about to tell you. So the TLDR is this. New text messages reveal how the former governor of Mississippi plotted to steal millions from the poor in order to build a fancy volleyball stadium for Brett Favre's daughter. That is not an exaggeration. That is literally what is alleged to have happened. And it is backed up now by newly revealed text messages and court filings. And to make matters worse, the current governor is trying to cover up the truth. What I am about to tell you is so outrageous, corrupt, and disgusting that I can scarcely wrap my head around it. It is the most perfect example of socialism for the rich, rugged individualism for the poor that I have ever seen. So, in the nation's poorest state, the welfare fund was plundered to give goodies to a rich NFL superstar, political elites, and their cronies. Buckle your seatbelts, folks. First, though, we gotta start way back. In the Clinton administration, Bill Clinton decided to do what no Republican could have accomplished and to end welfare as we know it. He eliminated the previous welfare program in favor of something called TANF, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. Now, unlike the New Deal welfare program, TANF was what's called a block grant. States get a certain amount of funding and with some legal limitations can do with it whatever they want. And in southern states like Mississippi, frequently, they did not actually want to give the money to the poor families who really needed it. Mississippi as a state is the most cruel to its struggling residents. In 1 year, according to a Jackson Free Press investigation, of the 12,000 Mississippi residents who applied for TANF, a mere 165 were actually awarded any benefits. Many residents who technically qualify for assistance have given up trying to actually obtain benefits because the process is so dehumanizing and the odds of success are so small. Essentially in Mississippi, a state with record child poverty, welfare does not exist. At least not for the poor, but someone was getting all that money. And a multi-year investigation has revealed the way that government officials and their cronies fed like pigs at the trough off of that money that was intended to go to help the poor. A single politically connected charter school operator, Nancy New, she is at the center of this fraud. Now, New is a major GOP donor. She's given thousands to the current governor of the state of Mississippi, that is Tate Reeves. Reeves actually filmed a campaign spot at one of her charter schools. She was also close friends with the wife of the former governor, Phil Bryant. Bryant was governor of the state while welfare funds were being pilfered by the millions to benefit Nancy New, among others. So over the length of the scheme, Nancy New and her son Zach netted more than $136 million in state funds. State auditors say that $77 million of those funds were actually misspent for illegal purposes, often to personally benefit themselves and their allies. They were two of the 6 individuals who have been indicted as part of the scheme and are personally accused of pocketing at least $4 million in state funds to fatten their own bank accounts. The vast majority of this cash came directly from welfare funds, again, intended for the state's poor residents. But Nancy New and her son are now cooperating with authorities as part of a plea deal, and that is where Brett Favre comes into the picture. So Favre's daughter apparently plays volleyball at the University of Southern Mississippi. That's the same school where he played football. And Daddy apparently wanted to buy his baby a fancy new stadium. Rather than ponying up the bucks himself, something that given his extraordinary wealth he could surely do, he decided to collaborate with Nancy New to try to secure the millions necessary from the state and his personal friend, Governor Bryant. As with their other schemes, the News sought millions for Favre from the federal welfare funds that they had long treated as their personal slush fund. It wasn't just the stadium, though. Favre was personally paid $1.1 million to deliver speeches that he never actually delivered. He also benefited from millions in investments the News made to a medical technology company in which Favre was the lead outside investor. Governor Bryant helped out with that company too. During his time in office, he helped the Favre-connected company to clear regulatory hurdles and to find new investors. And once Bryant left office, guess what? He was given a fat package of stock in that company as gratitude for his help. How nice. Now, I should pause here to say Governor Bryant and Brett Favre both deny wrongdoing. Favre says he had no idea the money was coming from welfare funds. He has paid back the no-show speech money, though not the interest on the money, which he does also owe. Governor Bryant says he was not involved in the illegal company investments that the News are now facing charges of bribery, racketeering, and embezzlement in connection with. He also says he was not closely involved in the volleyball stadium scheme. However, Newly revealed text messages say otherwise. In a new court filing reported on by Mississippi Today, text messages between New, Favre, and Bryant show a deep level of coordination on the $5 million stadium project. Here is the lead of that story. They say, quote, text messages entered Monday into the state's ongoing civil lawsuit over the welfare scandal reveal that former Governor Phil Bryant pushed to make NFL legend Brett Favre's volleyball idea a reality. The texts show that the then governor even guided Favre on how to write a funding proposal so that it could be accepted by the Mississippi Department of Human Services. Quote, just left Brett Favre, Bryant texted nonprofit founder Nancy New in July of 2019. Can we help him with his project? We should meet soon to see how I can make sure we keep your projects on course. Additional texts show Bryant coaching Favre and New on how their fraudulent volleyball proposal might pass muster to receive welfare funds from the federal block grant, giving direction about the specific type of details they would need for it to be approved, as the federal government strictly prohibits welfare funds from being used for brick-and-mortar projects like, for example, a volleyball stadium. In other texts, Favre is also seemingly concerned about the media finding out that he is getting paid out of these welfare funds. In one text, he writes to New, quote, if you were to pay me, is there any way the media can find out where it came from and how much? Well, it took a while, but the media did find out. And part of the reason it took so long is because of an apparent cover-up by the current governor of Mississippi. That would be Tate Reeves. There are signs that the current administration is attempting to protect the former governor and Favre. An attorney who was originally representing the state's welfare department in a civil suit to reclaim the stolen dollars was abruptly fired by current Governor Tate Reeves after that attorney subpoenaed the former governor's communications, including text messages related to the volleyball project. That attorney believes that his firing was politically motivated, and lo and behold, that civil investigation has appeared to slow since he was abruptly dismissed. Reeves has never been able to muster a direct answer about the real reason that he fired the attorney. What's more, even though the $5 million stadium expenditure was the single largest fraudulent expenditure, it has, for some reason, been omitted from the civil lawsuit seeking to reclaim some of the stolen dollars. Now, Reeves says his office used an objective process to determine which expenditures they would seek to claw back, but he has given no specifics about why Favre's volleyball stadium, greenlit by the former governor per these text messages, did not make the cut. Elites protecting their little club. Now, I might remind you that this is the same state and some of the same political players who have not been able to find sufficient funds to pay for residents of Jackson, the capital city, to have drinkable water. So, millions for a volleyball stadium, salaries, investments in well-connected companies, and no-show speech contracts for a rich NFL star. And this is what is coming out of the faucets of their residents. It is sickening beyond words. These people who have the nerve to rail against entitlements and welfare queens, all of that. They are the most disgusting grifters of all. Reverse Robin Hoods, robbing from the poor to pay the rich. And it just so happens that they are the rich. This story went so deep, it is my belief that the cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.